a number of different people. First off, John O'Neill. John is probably the only friend that Mike and I had in common throughout the years. It stuck with us and is there for every family event, everything that we do, and was a godsend over the last couple of weeks, supporting me and others through this event. Also, Bob Greenway and Robin, and Maury and Denise Ringler. In my phone, it's actually Wrangler. And Rick Toller, who came by the hospital quite a bit, and was a lot of support as well. So it's amazing how many great friends Michael had. And I know many of you wanted to come to the hospital and visit him. There were times when it would make sense and times when it was not. So the fact that you can remember him the way he was before he was in the hospital may be a bit of a blessing that way. I thought I'd do a couple things. I thought I would first just sort of chronologically tell you about Michael's life. We were sort of joined at the hip, so a lot of it's really going to be about our life. And then I thought that everybody has stories, and maybe the sort of unique flair that I bring to it is I can tell you the twin stories, because everybody always asks certain questions. Being a twin, and so I'm going to focus on that. So, Michael and I were born in Arvida, Quebec, Canada, on August 9th, 1957. Preceding us was my sister Jenny by 10 months. If you're watching the videos at all, you'll notice she was always beating us up. It hasn't stopped. We lived for about 6 years. Tony came just towards the end, and in the videos here, or in the old 8mm movies, as you can tell, you'll see him being born. You'll see him jumping around in front of the TV, one of my favorite videos. I actually put that together when my mom passed and spent ungodly number of hours putting it together frame by frame, music note by music note, and it just turned out great, other than maybe the resolution. But I've watched it several times, and I can tell you that of anybody in the family that touched Michael, probably more than anybody, that's a good me. So hopefully it touches you guys in somewhat the same way. So you'll see in the videos here that most of those, up until maybe the last couple of chapters, is pretty much in Canada. Like all of you, I think we take movies of our kids when we're really young, and then as they grow older, we don't. So let's have it back a century ago when we were born as well. So we lived in Canada for almost 6 years, and then we moved with my dad's job. He worked for Alcan Aluminum, but by the way, my parents were from England. My mother kept her British accent. My dad, I didn't think so, but people used to think he had an accent, but I didn't think he did. But they were both English, and I know some of you here got a chance to meet my dad. And Mike, in many ways, was very much like my dad. We moved to Oswego, New York, and I think from a picture perspective, you probably won't see a lot there. We had a lot of snow, I remember that. Otherwise, not a whole lot to remember. I remember one time we had a blizzard and the snowdrift went over the garage. And we were so excited, school was closed for 2 weeks. We were helicoptering food in and everything else. It was a really exciting time for us. We finished up elementary school in Warren, Ohio. We spent 5 years in Warren, junior high. We were big into Boy Scouts. You'll see a few pictures. At the end of our street was, I think, a plot of land that's probably 100 acres that was full of lakes. And we'd go back there with our BB guns and our Irish setter dog Sheila and spend hours and hours on our bikes, and we had a blast. And we were still at the stage in our life where we were still joined at the hip and did everything together. Had common friends, and he had a banana bike, I didn't. And that was really the beginning of my jealousy of Mike. So we spent through junior high, and then in 10th grade, we moved, or just before 10th grade, we moved to Cleveland, Ohio, Fairview Park actually. That's where we met and became lifelong friends with John. And my passion was music, and Michael's passion was golf. And of course, as you know, his passion has been golf all his life. The next thing I was jealous of most of my life. I will say, and Mark is a witness to this, that when we played in Dallas, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I did beat him once. That was the one and only time, but I can tell you I was so happy. So we spent our high school years in Fairview Park or Cleveland, and then both of us went to college in Ohio. He went to Miami University, I went to Bowling Green State University. And here's where I'm going to interject another story. People always ask us, you know, are you identical twins or fraternal twins? And that's one question. Another question that always gets asked is who's older? He's had the privilege of telling people that he's older by 5 minutes. I've since discussed that with my mother, and she said it's less than a minute. But I will also tell you that it's also a minute, and it's a conventional way of thinking of things. But the Chinese, they measure age by first conceived. And so it sort of goes with the sort of fraternal and identical twins, because if we're identical twins, then we were conceived at the same time and we're the exact same age. If we were fraternal twins, then I'm actually older. So Mike suggests that we are identical twins, and I'm fairly certain we're fraternal twins. But that brings me to the story about school. He would often hitchhike to Bowling Green, and I would often hitchhike to Miami. I don't remember how far apart, but maybe 3 hours or something? 4 hours? And when I would go across campus without Mike in Miami, you know, somebody bumped into me, they'd say, "Hi, Mike," and if it was just in passing, I'd say hi. And if they wanted to talk, I'd explain to them that I was Mike's twin brother, Andrew. But Mike didn't do that. He would be walking across the Bowling Green campus, and somebody'd say, "Hi, Mike." He'd just look at them as if they were foreigners or something. And I hear about this all the time. You know, well, you weren't a very good movie the other day, and it's all you probably rated my brother Michael. I'll also tell you, on the twin side of things, you'll see in the movies and in the pictures. You know, we were born, I think. When we were born, there were 2 names in the family, Jennifer and the twins. We were just the twins. There was no Michael and Andrew, there was just the twins. Tony was born, and we still had 2 names. It was Jennifer, and it was Michael, Andrew, Tony. Mom always said, Michael, Andrew, Tony. It didn't matter if it was me, it didn't matter if it was Michael. But of course, for some reason, Michael was first. After high school, or I should say after college, I got a job at Xerox in Dallas. Michael got a job with, I think it was Dow Chemical in Michigan. Pardon me? Yeah. Some chemical company. And I moved down to Dallas, he moved to Michigan, and within about 2 years, he followed me down to Dallas. And so, again, we were joined at the hip. Spent a lot of time together. We lived together for a while. He's hard to live with. And then I think it was Steve. Where's Steve? I think maybe you broke us up.
Thanks.
To come.
Shh, not too much.
Yeah. So he was in Dallas, and we spent about 20 years there. Michael, in the construction industry, working for somebody, and then starting his own company. I was working in computers behind a desk, and that was the other thing I was always jealous of him. he traveled, he had lots of time off. He'd take that time off and go visit Georgian Bay. You'll see pictures of Georgian Bay. He bought a boat in Georgian Bay, and so he had a lifestyle that was a bit different than mine. I think he regrets it in some sense, but I'll tell you, he enjoyed life a great deal, and part of it is, you know, he was able to do things. Some of us who get tied to a desk job, only a few weeks of vacation don't, so I'm really gratified that he had that. Then in 2005, my wife and I and daughter Jessica moved to Victoria, British Columbia. I had a job opportunity there. I love it there, he loves it there. For anybody that knows him, you know he spent a lot of time there, bought a boat and lived there. And he spent 3 months there this August with me and Joanne. Spent a few weeks with John up in the Great Lakes. And he did some real special things in the last few months that he was here. So we moved to Victoria, and Mike came out to Albuquerque, and he's been here ever since. And so I think you all can tell me more about him in Albuquerque than I can tell you, so I'll let you guys handle that. I'll wrap it up with just a few twin stories. People ask me, did you guys have some sort of second sense? And first of all, I'd say, you know, twins are probably no different than any other close siblings. But I did feel his pain and his joy. And I would liken that to a parent who feels the pain and joy of their child. And I think that might be a difference with two very close siblings, is that I experienced that. I remember, I'm not going to tell that story. But here's a Sixth Sense story that's maybe a bit funnier. I was in Green, it was my freshman year, and I decided I was going to grow a mustache. And about 2 weeks later, Michael came and visited me, and he had a mustache. And we found out that we started growing it on the very same day. Well, he spent the weekend, he went back to my university, and I got to thinking, you know, if my mustache looks as bad as his mustache, I need to shave it off. So I shaved it off. And 2 weeks later, I called him up and I said, you know, your mustache looks horrible. Mine looks like yours. I figured I better shave it off. And do you know that he felt the same way and shaved the mustache off 2 weeks later on the very same day? The other question we always get asked is, did you ever play any games on anybody? And I'll just, there were a few, not a lot, probably 20, but I'll talk about two that come to mind. I was visiting, I was visiting Columbus, I think it was on business, and he had worked in a restaurant in Columbus, I think it was called the Whaling Station, is that right? Yeah. And Bob Mathias was a fraternity brother of his, and I met him for lunch, and while I was talking to him, two girls came in the door, and Bob said, you know, you need to tell him the mic. You know, let's just see if you can pull it off. So they came up and I said, hi, how you doing? Of course I didn't know, but I think maybe Bob told me their names, but they sat down and, you know, I was struggling a little bit because, you know, at first they hadn't seen Mike in 2 years, so I could talk about things, current things that they may not know about, but when they started talking about the old times, I sort of got stuck. And finally I said, you know, I'm not really Mike, I'm Andrew's twin brother. Well, they didn't believe me. I got out my Texas driver's license. Mike would have had either a Michigan or Ohio driver's license at that time. And I showed them my Texas driver's license with my name, and you know, they walked out the door and still did not believe me. The other story is there was a country western bar in Dallas called the Bell Star that I used to frequent, and I met a girl there. I eventually dated her for about 6 or 9 months, and her name was Dina. You heard the story, Dina?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
And Dina was a real sweetheart. I met her, danced with her. She was a heck of a good country western dancing. In fact, I probably never told you this, Joanne, but that's probably where I got good at country western dancing.
Let her lead.
Yeah, at first. And I met her, and we arranged to meet on the following Tuesday, which was Valentine's Day. And Michael, Jay Markle, Frank, a couple of other people, were all gonna go up with me. And Michael said, you know what, if I run into her first, I'm gonna go up to her and I'm gonna act like an ass. And so he combed the place looking for this girl that might look like Dina, and he found her. Before I did. And he went up to her and he said, she found him. I actually think she found him. And she came over and he said, "Hi, Nina." That should have been the first signal because her name was Dina, number one. I only heard about that from Dina later. And they hugged, and before he could have one or two words out of his mouth, he said, I can't do this. You're such a sweetheart, I can't do this to you. And she said, I'm not really Andrew, I'm just twin brother. Well, for those people that know we had twins, you could probably buy it that I didn't have a chance to tell her I had twins. So she started crying, and she started saying, why are you doing this to me? Why don't you just tell me you don't like me? I don't understand. And I'm about, maybe here to the end of the building there, and I see this taking place. And I'm scrambling to get over there, and she's just crying her eyes out. And Michael's sitting there completely dumbfounded. And I go over there, and probably halfway there, she saw me, and then it all sort of came true. But there were times, I will tell you that you'll see in the pictures, more people couldn't tell us apart when we were separate, but when you see us together, you knew we looked differently. So on a question of, are we identical, fraternal? I say we're fraternal, Michael says we're identical. But on the question of do we look alike, the answer is we look similar, and at different points in our life we look more alike than others. But apart, people have a big problem, especially if they haven't seen you for a while, like Dina. And then the last thing I like, I know other people will be saying the thing, is Mike's generosity. He had such a huge heart. He contributed into Jessica's fund and paid for her entire first year. He bought the boat in Georgian Bay. We both got to use it. He bought a really, really nice boat in Victoria. He bought that for both of us. We got to use it. But that wasn't always the case. One time when I think we were single, Joanne, you'll have to tell me if you recall this, Michael had been stopped in Fort Worth. And Fort Worth is about 45 minutes to an hour from Dallas. And I'm living in Dallas. And he was stopped in Fort Worth for a speeding ticket that he hadn't paid, so he had a warrant out for his arrest. And they put him in jail. And he called me, and I got out there about 9 o'clock at night. And I went to the ATM machine. I didn't have any cash. And I got the $100 or $150, whatever it was, to bail him out. And I went up to the thing to pay it, and they asked for my driver's license. And they turned around and said, Mr. Smith, you have a warrant out for your arrest. So I paid to get Mike out of jail, and they put me in jail. What did Mike do? Well, he went back home, he went to sleep, and he left me So, now that I've given you a little bit of flavor for Mike's life, we are like, we're gonna play some pictures, and maybe you'll see in pictures some of the things I've been talking about. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming.